Welcome to Sneaky Stories, home of short stories you can sneak into your day. Get ready to go on an adventure with some of the Sneaky Universe characters. Today we have a story from the Sofie Marin series. I'm your storyteller, Pauline, and I can't wait to share today's story with you. Let the adventure begin. Remember, there aren't any pictures, so you'll need to imagine them. You can imagine the pictures any way you like.
Sofie Marin and the Sneaky Seagulls. Today is going to be a great day, thought Sofie Marin as she stretched her arms and yawned. She reached over to the bedside table and felt around for her glasses. Popping them on, Sofie and her cat Missy leapt out of bed. She checked the calendar hanging on the wall by the window. Yes, today was definitely going to be a great day. She was going to the beach with her friend Benny. Sofie put on her red bathers and t-shirt and yellow shorts and ran to the kitchen. Missy followed. "Good morning, Sofie," said her mum and dad together. "Good morning, Mum. Good morning, Dad." Missy found her bowl and gobbled up all her food. She walked over to Sofie and rubbed gently against her legs. She wanted to taste Sofie's breakfast. Sofie cut off a tiny piece of her crumpet and tried to sneak it down to Missy. Her mum frowned. Missy purred in appreciation. "Do you have anything exciting planned for today?" asked her dad. "Oh yes, Mum is taking me and Benny to the beach," Sofie replied. "Well, that does sound exciting. Looks like it's going to be perfect beach weather. Are you ready to go?" "Nearly. I just need to put on some sunscreen and get my hat," Sofie replied. "That's good. Benny will be here soon, and we'll be on our way," said her mum. "Do you think Missy wants to come to the beach? She does like an adventure and sand. She loves playing in the sandpit in the backyard. The beach would be like a giant sandpit," asked Sofie. "No, I don't think she would like all that water. Missy can stay home today," said Mum. Sofie continued to munch on her breakfast as Missy found a comfortable spot and Mrs. Marin packed the cooler bag with food and drinks. Missy's ears perked up and she turned her head to the door. "Meow." "Did you say something, Missy?" asked Sofie, now rubbing sunscreen onto her arms and legs. "Knock, knock." "That must be Benny," exclaimed Sofie. Mr. Marin walked over to the door and let him in. "Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Marin. Hi, Sofie. Hi, Missy," said Benny, greeting each of them as he walked in carrying a small bag and brightly coloured beach ball. "Hi, Benny," replied Sofie. "Hello, Benny," answered Mrs. Marin. "Meow." "Thanks for inviting me to the beach, Mrs. Marin." "You're welcome. I'm sure you and Sofie will have lots of fun together. Have you got everything you need?" "I think so. I'm already wearing my swimming shorts and a rash vest. I've got a towel in my bag and my hat, and my mum made sure I put on heaps of sunscreen before I left." "Excellent. We're nearly ready here too. I'm just packing the last of our snacks. Sofie, go grab your bag and I'll meet you both outside by the door." "Yes, Mum," replied Sofie before turning to Benny. "I'm so excited. I love the beach." "Me too." "Do you know what I like best about the beach, Benny?" "No, what?" "I like building a sandcastle, playing in the water and looking at the pretty shells." "Me too. I also like watching the crabs in the rock pools. Did you know that the crabs grow and they change shells?" "Really?" "Yes. That is why we should only look at the shells on the beach and not collect them. The crabs need them for their homes," said Benny. "Oh, well, lucky I only look at them. Right, let's get in the car. Your bags can go in the boot. Make sure you put your seatbelts on." "Yes, Mum." It was a short drive to the beach. Sofie and Benny chatted excitedly. "I'm going to swim and then build a sandcastle, Benny. What are you going to do?" "I think I'll swim too, and maybe we can play catch with the ball in the water." "That sounds great." "All right, you two, grab your bags, put on your hats, and let's go find a nice spot," said Mrs. Marin as she picked up the cooler bag of food and beach umbrella. "This spot looks good, doesn't it, Mum?" asked Sofie, pointing to a space on the sand shooing away the seagulls milling about. "Yes, I think here will do nicely," Mrs. Marin replied, looking around. "How about I set up the beach towels and a beach umbrella while you go and have a swim and make sure you stay between the flags. I'll watch from here." Sofie and Benny scrambled across the sand and into the water, taking the beach ball with them. They swam a few metres in and started throwing the ball to one another. They were having a great time. Mrs. Marin waded in a little later. "Hi, Mum. Do you want to play catch with us?" "Sure." Splash. "Did you do that on purpose, Sophie?" "Yes, she did," said Benny. "She's throwing the ball just short of where you are so you get splashed. She's been doing it to me too." "You've been doing it too, Benny," Sophie giggled. "Anyway, we are in the water. Of course we're going to get wet." Splash, splash, splash. "Hey, that was a really big splash, Sophie," Sophie giggled. "You know, I think I've had enough splashing for now. I think I'd like to go build a sandcastle." "That's a great idea, Benny. Let's do that." The three of them slowly made their way back to the shore. Sofie and Benny found a spot close to the water and started piling up the sand. "Do you know what we need, Benny?" "No, what do we need, Sofie?" "A bucket. Did you bring one?" "No, but why don't we ask your mum if she's got something we can use?" Benny suggested. "Sure, I'll do that." Sofie leapt up and headed towards her mum, who was sitting in the shade of the umbrella reading a book. "Mum, did you bring my bucket?" "No, dear, but you can use the spare cup for now, and later after we eat you can take the plastic container and use it." "Thanks, Mum, the cup is perfect. We can make it to use our sandcastle pretty." Sofie rushed back to Benny. "I sure am glad you're back, Sofie. I feel like those seagulls are watching me build and dig. It's as if they're looking for something in the sand and expect me to find it. Or maybe they just want to play." Sometime later, Mrs. Marin walked by to admire the castle. "This is starting to look like a great castle. Very impressive." "Thanks, Mrs. Marin. I think all this building has made me hungry. Can we eat, Mum?" "Yes, of course. Why don't you two play for a few more minutes while I go get the food ready?" "Thanks, Mrs. Marin." "These sandwiches are delicious, Mrs. Marin." "Yeah, thanks, Mum. They're exactly what we need to fill our tummies." "You're welcome," replied Mrs. Marin. Squawk, squawk. "Do you think the seagulls are moving closer to us?" asked Benny. "Maybe," said Sofie, looking around. "Maybe they're hungry," asked Benny. "Well, too bad if they are. I'm hungry too, and I'm not sharing my yummy sandwich with a seagull," replied Sofie. Squawk, squawk. "Oh, look, that seagull's only got one leg. Poor thing, it might have trouble getting enough food on its own," said Benny, pointing. "Nope, still not sharing my food." "Well, I'm going to help it," Benny declared, breaking off a little bread and tossing it in the direction of the one-legged seagull. Squawk, squawk. The one-legged seagull eyed the bread and suddenly ran to it on two legs. "What?" cried Benny. "It's only pretending to have one leg." Squawk, squawk. Sofie giggled. She was laughing so much she had to put down her sandwich. "That is so funny. That seagull tricked you. It has two legs and can look after itself very, very well." "Well, I guess it is funny. Lucky I only gave it a little piece of bread. I think I'll eat the rest of my sandwich myself," said Benny. Squawk, squawk, squawk. Sofie continued to laugh. "Sofie, you must have been very hungry. You already finished your sandwich," exclaimed her mother. "What? No, I just put it down because I was laughing so much. Here, what? Where? Hey, where's my sandwich?" said Sofie, looking around. Squawk. "Ha ha," giggled Benny. "Is that your sandwich over there?" asked Benny, pointing to a rather large round seagull who was tucking into Sofie's lunch. "What? That seagull stole my sandwich while I was laughing at you?" "These seagulls are sneaky, aren't they?" "Well, how about I give you another sandwich, Sofie, and this time you don't put it down, so no sneaky seagulls can get your food," said Mrs. Marin. "Thanks, Mum. That would be great. And don't worry, this sandwich will be in my tummy before any sneaky seagulls can get a chance to gobble it up," replied Sofie, happily accepting the second sandwich.
If you would like a free Sneaky Universe colouring and activity book, visit www.sneakyuniverse.com/Sneaky Stories Podcast. Sneaky Stories is a Sneaky Universe production. Written, hosted and edited by Pauline Malcolm. The music is by Trailer Works. If you would like more stories, visit www.sneakyuniverse.com.